She spent years soaring above the clouds, believing only in the science of flight, until one moment changed everything. What she experienced at 30,000 feet shattered her reality and led her on an unimaginable path. This is the incredible story of how a shocking event in the sky led a pilot to Islam. Emma Reynolds grew up in Boston, a vibrant city on the east coast of the United States. From her earliest memories, she had been fascinated by flight. When other children were playing with dolls, Emma would stretch her arms wide, running through her backyard making airplane noises. Her father, a physics professor, encouraged her curiosity about aerodynamics by helping her build paper airplanes that soared higher than anyone else's. "The sky has no limits, just like your potential," her father would tell her. Those words became Emma's mantra as she navigated the challenging path toward becoming a pilot. America's aviation industry was competitive, with few women reaching the highest positions. But Emma was determined. She worked tirelessly through college, earning a degree in aerospace engineering while simultaneously completing her flight training. Her exceptional skills in mathematics and physics made her stand out, but it was her remarkable composure under pressure that truly set her apart. By age 28, Emma had secured a position as a first officer with Trans Global Airways, one of North America's most prestigious airlines. Within 5 years, she advanced to captain, breaking records as one of the youngest women to command large commercial aircraft. Her career took her across 6 continents, piloting routes over vast oceans, towering mountains, and sprawling deserts. On paper, Emma Reynolds had achieved everything she had ever wanted. Her parents were proud, her bank account was healthy, and aviation magazines featured her accomplishments. Yet as she lay in her high-rise apartment after long flights, staring at the ceiling, a persistent emptiness gnawed at her consciousness. "Is this all there is?" she would whisper to herself. The technical challenges of flying no longer stimulated her as they once had. The accolades felt hollow. There was a void within her that achievements couldn't fill. Emma had been raised in a secular household. While her mother had occasionally mentioned her distant Lebanese Christian heritage, religion had never been central to their family life. Spirituality was something Emma associated with other people, those who needed comfort or structure. She had always believed that her scientific mind left little room for faith. This perspective began to shift unexpectedly during a routine flight from Chicago to Dubai. Emma's co-pilot had fallen ill at the last minute, and his replacement was a quiet, dignified man named Omar. During their pre-flight checks, Emma noticed Omar briefly pause, close his eyes, and whisper something. "Prayer for safety?" Emma asked with a slight smile. Omar nodded. "I ask Allah to guide our hands and protect all souls aboard." Emma was intrigued but said nothing more as they prepared for takeoff. The flight was smooth until they were halfway across the Atlantic. Without warning, their aircraft was engulfed by a powerful electrical storm that hadn't appeared on any weather forecasts. Lightning flashed around them, and the plane shuddered violently as it was caught in severe turbulence. Emma remained outwardly calm while her mind raced through emergency procedures. The passengers behind them were panicking. She could hear screams even through the cockpit door. System alerts blared as the storm intensified. "We need to change altitude," Emma commanded, but as she attempted to adjust their course, several instruments simultaneously malfunctioned. For the first time in her career, genuine fear gripped her heart. Beside her, Omar maintained his composure. "Captain," he said quietly, "may I say a prayer?" With nothing to lose, Emma nodded. Omar began reciting verses in Arabic, his voice steady and melodious amidst the chaos. As the words filled the cockpit, something extraordinary happened. A strange calm washed over Emma, unlike anything she had experienced before. The lightning outside the aircraft began to dissipate, not gradually, but in an instant, as if a switch had been flipped. The turbulence ceased so abruptly that Emma checked her instruments twice, convinced they must be malfunctioning. but everything indicated they were now flying through perfectly clear skies. "That's impossible," Emma whispered, staring at the now peaceful expanse outside their window. "With Allah, nothing is impossible," Omar replied simply. When they landed safely in Dubai, Emma couldn't stop thinking about what had occurred. The meteorological impossibility of such a sudden storm dissipation haunted her thoughts. She found herself approaching Omar before he left the airport. "The prayer you said, what was it?" "Verses from Surah Al-Ra'd," he explained. "It speaks of thunder and lightning as signs of Allah's power." Hesitantly, Emma asked, "Could you recommend something for me to read? About Islam?" Omar smiled warmly and suggested she begin with an English translation of the Quran, offering to connect her with a knowledgeable teacher named Noor who lived in Boston. Back home, Emma found herself drawn to the Quran's pages with increasing frequency. What began as intellectual curiosity evolved into something deeper. The concept of Tawheed, the absolute oneness of God, resonated with her in ways she hadn't expected. There was an elegant simplicity to it that appealed to her scientific mind. Noor, a Boston University professor who had converted to Islam herself 20 years earlier, became Emma's guide. Their discussions ranged from theological concepts to practical aspects of Muslim life. Noor never pressured Emma. She simply answered questions and shared her own experiences. "Islam doesn't ask you to abandon reason," Noor explained during one meeting. "It asks you to recognize the limits of human knowledge and be open to something greater." This approach appealed to Emma, who had always valued evidence and logical thinking. She began researching historical and scientific aspects of Islamic texts, surprised to find references to astronomical phenomena that wouldn't be discovered until centuries after the Quran was revealed. Despite her growing interest, Emma kept her spiritual exploration private. As a woman in a male-dominated field who had worked relentlessly to be taken seriously, she worried about colleagues' reactions. Would they see her differently if she embraced a faith that many Westerners misunderstood? 6 months after the storm incident, Emma was piloting a flight to Jeddah when she experienced another remarkable event. Flying over the Mediterranean at night, all electrical systems in the cockpit suddenly failed. Complete darkness enveloped them as backup systems also malfunctioned. A catastrophic and virtually impossible scenario. In that moment of darkness and potential disaster, Emma found herself instinctively whispering Bismillah, words she had read in the Quran. Immediately, a soft light began to emanate from nowhere in particular, illuminating the essential instruments. The light had no visible source, yet it provided just enough illumination for Emma to safely navigate, while systems gradually restored themselves. Her first officer, Helena, was bewildered. What just happened? Where's that light coming from? Emma had no scientific explanation. The aircraft's black box later revealed no record of the light, though it did document the system's failure and inexplicable recovery. This second inexplicable event deepened Emma's conviction that there were forces beyond scientific explanation. Upon returning home, she intensified her studies of Islam, now incorporating prayers into her daily routine. The emptiness that had plagued her for years began to recede, replaced by a profound sense of purpose and connection. While on a layover in Saudi Arabia, Emma made an impulsive decision to visit Mecca for Umrah. Though not yet officially Muslim, she felt drawn to Islam's holiest site. Standing before the Kaaba for the first time, surrounded by thousands of worshippers moving in unity, tears streamed down her face. In that moment, surrounded by strangers yet feeling profoundly connected to them all, Emma knew she had found what she had been searching for. Upon returning to Boston, Emma formally embraced Islam by pronouncing the Shahada in the presence of Noor and a small community of Muslims. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. The declaration felt both momentous and natural, as if she was finally acknowledging a truth her heart had already recognized. Emma's conversion brought challenges. Her mother worried that she was being radicalized. Some colleagues became distant, making assumptions about her based on headlines rather than personal interaction. The airline's strict uniform requirements conflicted with her desire to dress more modestly. Yet for every challenge, there seemed to be unexpected support. Her father, though not religious himself, defended her right to follow her conscience. A senior female pilot helped Emma negotiate acceptable uniform modifications, and several passengers, Muslim and non-Muslim alike, expressed appreciation for seeing a visibly Muslim woman in the cockpit, breaking stereotypes with every flight. Emma found that Islam enhanced rather than hindered her professional life. The discipline of 5 daily prayers helped structure her time during long layovers. Fasting during Ramadan sharpened her focus and self-control. Most importantly, the constant awareness of a greater purpose infused even routine flights with meaning. Each safe landing was not just a professional accomplishment, but an act of service to humanity. As months passed, Emma became known not just as an exceptional pilot, but as someone whose calm demeanor and ethical approach to work inspired those around her. Her prayer before flights became as much a part of her pre-flight routine as her technical checks. During a particularly challenging approach to Chicago in a blinding snowstorm, Emma's first officer remarked on her composure. "How do you stay so calm when things get this intense?" he asked as they navigated through near-zero visibility. Emma smiled slightly. "I remember that while I'm responsible for doing my absolute best, the ultimate outcome isn't entirely in my hands. There's peace in knowing you're not carrying the burden alone." What had begun as a successful career, driven by personal ambition, had transformed into something richer. A vocation through which Emma could exemplify the values of her faith: precision, responsibility, compassion, and service. 3 years after her conversion, Emma established a mentorship program for young women interested in aviation careers, particularly those from underrepresented backgrounds. She spoke at schools and community centers, showing that being Muslim and being a pioneering professional woman were perfectly compatible. "Faith doesn't limit your horizons," she would tell young women. "It expands them by giving you a foundation to stand on while you reach for the stars." On the 5th anniversary of the miraculous storm incident, Emma found herself flying the same route across the Atlantic. As they passed the coordinates where the inexplicable event had occurred, she offered a prayer of gratitude. Life as a Muslim woman pilot in America continued to present challenges. Some passengers occasionally requested different flights upon seeing her hijab. Security screenings at foreign airports sometimes involved extra scrutiny. But Emma faced each situation with dignity and patience, viewing these moments as opportunities to change perceptions through her professionalism and character. "The journey to the skies taught me precision and technical mastery," Emma reflected in a journal entry. "But the journey to faith taught me why that mastery matters, because every life entrusted to me is precious in the sight of Allah. Each safe landing is not just a technical achievement, but a fulfilled trust." Throughout her continuing career, Emma maintained that the 2 most important navigational tools were not found in any aircraft. They were the compass of faith that pointed her toward her Creator, and the map of Islamic teachings that guided her through life's complex terrain. With these tools, she navigated not just through the Earth's atmosphere, but toward eternal peace, finding in each flight a metaphor for the soul's journey homeward.